In most parts of the world, a girl's first period is met with quiet embarrassment. In the gold-rich Asante Empire of West Africa, it was treated like the crowning of a king. Welcome back to our series on how ancient civilizations honored the human body. Today continues the deep dive from my book, Lunar Mysticism, Ancient Wisdom on the Menstrual Cycle, and the Art of Coming Back to Yourself. In it, we explore how societies built ceremonies, architecture, and belief systems around natural body cycles, and one of the most breathtaking examples comes from the Asante Kingdom. The moment a girl reached womanhood in Asante society, she wasn't sent away to hide. She was brought to the center of the kingdom, dressed in gold and woven silk, and seated beneath the massive royal umbrella, a canopy usually reserved exclusively for emperors. Why would a powerful empire give a teenager the royal authority of a ruler, just because of her cycle? The answer comes down to a power system run entirely by women, the Queen Mothers. Today we're diving into who the Asante were, the sacred symbolism of their royal umbrella, the Kyinie, the ritual of Bragoro, and whether this tradition survives in modern Ghana. Before the ritual, who were the Asante? Also spelled Ashanti, they're a subgroup of the Akan ethnic group, originating in the rainforests of modern-day central Ghana. Beginning in the late 17th century, under leaders like King Osei Tutu I and his spiritual advisor Okomfo Anoke, the Asante unified surrounding chiefdoms into the formidable Asante Empire. By the 18th and 19th centuries, the empire had grown into one of the most powerful, wealthy, and sophisticated military states in West Africa. Its capital, Kumasi, was a hub of trade, diplomacy, and artistry. The empire built vast trade networks controlling the West African gold trade, earning the region its historical European name, the Gold Coast. Asante gold crafting, woven kente cloth, and wood carving became famous across the globe. Central to Asante's statehood is the sacred Sika Dwa Kofi, the golden stool, believed to embody the soul of the entire nation. What made the Asante unique among global empires? Despite their military might, their political framework rested on the power of women. Who was the Asante Queen Mother? To understand why a girl's first period was treated like state news, you have to understand how power worked in Asante society. While European powers passed power from father to son, the Asante operated under a dual monarchy built on motherliness. In Asante tradition, royal blood and inheritance passed strictly through women. Because the nation's bloodline flowed through its women, the ultimate guardian of the realm was the Queen Mother, the Ohemmaa. The Ohemmaa was not simply the king's wife. More often, she was his mother, sister, or aunt, operating as a co-ruler with real political and spiritual authority. If a king died or proved unfit to rule, it was the Queen Mother who had sole power to nominate the next ruler. Because the empire's future depended on the health and line of its women, a girl's first cycle was a matter of national importance. The moment a young girl experienced her first period, her mother reported it immediately to the Queen Mother's council. The Queen Mother acted as ultimate protector, ensuring every young woman was educated, revered, and sheltered before entering adulthood. The Royal Umbrella, symbol of sacred power. The centerpiece of this ceremony was the Kyinie, the massive royal silk umbrella. Today we view an umbrella as a tool against rain or sun. In traditional Asante culture, it was a sacred instrument of sovereignty, representing spiritual shelter, authority, and divine protection. Holding a giant, ornate silk canopy over someone publicly declared that their head was sacred and must be shielded from negative forces. These umbrellas were handcrafted from heavy imported silks, velvets, and hand-woven kente cloth, trimmed with gold fringe and topped with wooden carvings coated in leaf gold. When the royal umbrella was raised and rotated over a young girl during her ceremony, it sent 3 messages to the kingdom. First, spiritual protection. It shielded her during a transition when her body was believed deeply connected to the spiritual world. Second, public honor. It announced she was no longer a child, elevating her to someone of high civic importance. Third, sanctification. Placing her under the exact canopy reserved for paramount chiefs declared that the body's power to create life carried the same dignity as a king holding a throne. The the step-by-step Bragoro ritual. This transformation was celebrated through a multi-day rite of passage, Bragoro. It began with the announcement. The mother brought a cooked egg to the Queen Mother to declare her daughter's transition. Elder women gathered to verify the news and prepare the girl for what was to come. Next, the seclusion. The initiate entered a quiet retreat with elder women known as the Brafo. Away from public view, she was taught bodily autonomy, health, relationship boundaries, lineage history, and the responsibilities of womanhood. Then, the purification. Dressed in white, she was taken to a sacred river for a ritual bath. Elder women dipped sacred leaves into the water and sprinkled them over her head, washing away bad omens and invoking health, peace, and abundance. Finally, the grand durbar. The girl emerged in brilliant kente cloth, dripping in gold beads and brass ornaments. She was seated upon a sacred wooden stool, mirroring the crowning ceremony used for royalty. As she sat, the silk umbrella was opened and spun above her head to the pulse of drums and singing. The community showered her with gifts, honoring the arrival of a new woman. Is Bragoro still practiced today? Does this celebration still happen, or has it faded into history? The full Bragoro ritual has largely disappeared from big cities, but it hasn't died completely. Over the last century, 3 shifts altered how puberty is marked in West Africa. First, colonial and Christian influence. Missionaries discouraged indigenous rites as pagan, and as Christianity spread, families began keeping menarche private or replacing traditional rites with church confirmations. Modern schooling. A traditional Bragoro could last up to 2 weeks, impractical for young women attending school full-time. Third, changing views on privacy. Culture shifted toward treating health as private rather than a public celebration. However, in rural Akan districts and traditional royal courts, Queen Mothers still preserve modified, weekend versions of the rite. Cultural organizations and traditional leaders use adapted forms of Bragoro during heritage festivals to teach young women self-worth, bodily pride, and connection to their African heritage. The Asante tradition is a reminder of how humanity once viewed the body. What modern society often treats with shame or silence was once recognized as a moment worthy of gold, drums, and a king's canopy. The story of the Queen Mother, the sacred umbrella, and Bragoro shows us that our body's natural rhythms aren't something to hide. They're a link to history, dignity, and power. For more stories like this, from the circular period architecture of the Dogon people of Mali to the scientific connections between lunar cycles and human energy, grab a copy of Lunar Mysticism, available now through the link in the description. If you want a physical, guided tracker for your own monthly cycle, look for the companion Lunar Journal. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment with your thoughts on this tradition and subscribe to BTS Africa Media for more deep dives into the heritage that shapes who we are today. Join us in creating a better tomorrow.